You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Thursday night Beans and Dice live call-in show.
Wah, wah, wah.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And tonight we are in the voicemail bag. Woo-hoo. It is our first time doing a show dedicated to voicemails. We asked y'all to fill our voicemail bag with your voicemails talking about your favorite game designers, and the Beans and Dice community did not fail.
Nope.
They showed up.
Yeah, we got a chunk of them.
We got voicemails, and our topic for this week is your favorite game designer. So it doesn't have to, however you decide to quantify that. Your favorite game designer, plural for some.
Yeah, for many.
But we're going to get right into the voicemails. What we do here on the Beans and Dice podcast is this is a podcast show, but what we do to record content is we do a live call-in show on Thursday nights. That's the podcast pretty much. We take your phone calls to talk about games. We talk about what we've been up to, and then we post it as a podcast. You can watch the recording of it on YouTube. Joined with my friends all the way from Washington State, all the way down to near the tip of Florida.
On the tip.
We are South Florida, right?
Yep.
The University of South Florida is here.
Sure.
We are South
Florida. Yeah, I guess you could say that. South Central.
Just south of Central.
Yeah, just south of Central. There you go. That's better. Yeah.
And then this time, for the first time, we've done a voicemail bag. What we're going to do is we'll play some voicemails that the folks at home, what I call my beaners, trademarked, who call in and leave their favorite designers. Let's get right into the first one. All right, here we go. Favorite board game designer in the voicemail bag.
Hey, howdy, Beans and Dice crew. I was just calling to leave my top designer list. So I have 4 listed here. I'll start with number 1, Shem Phillips. I think everybody knows who Shem Phillips is. Raiders of the North Sea, Architects of the West Kingdom, Ezra and Nehemiah, Shelfie Stacker, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, Paladins of the West Kingdom. Just a plethora of games that I have enjoyed. And for this list as well, there must be at least 3 games that I highly enjoy from these designers. And Shem is number 1 because it's the most games I've played that I've enjoyed. So Shem Phillips, number 1. Number 2, Simone Luciani. He has designed the Voyages of Marco Polo, Council of 4, Grand Austria Hotel, Lorenzo El Magnifico, Darwin's Journey, Wrath of Wistar. And then his co-designer, I should say, who's designed a couple of his games as well as some other games. His next is Virginio Gigli, who's designed Coimbra, First Rat, co-designed Grand Austria Hotel, Agizia, and Lorenzo Il Magnifico. And then number 4 is Emerson Matsuchi, who's designed the Century Trilogy, Foundations of Rome, and Spectre Ops. Also met him at Origins Fair 2019, and he is the nicest designer, publisher, anyone in the industry that I have ever met. He is awesome. Very humble guy. So those are my top 4 board game designers. All right. Looking forward to hearing the show tonight. Bye-bye.
All right, so I heard Shem Phillips, Simone Luciani, Virginio Gugli.
Something like that. Jiggly.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. And then Emerson Matsushi. Any thoughts from y'all on these picks? And I believe that is Chris, based on the tone,
we didn't
cadence, and voice.
Himself,
didn't introduce himself. But I believe that's Chris from Austin, Texas.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of those he mentioned, all 4 of them were on my short list. I looked at all those and I considered all of those. Emerson was one that I looked at very closely. He was up there probably right around my top 5. But I like all those picks. They're all good.
I would concur.
Yeah, Mike concurs.
I cannot.
No, not a fan. That's not your style of games.
Anakin, where you're going, I cannot follow.
No.
I think I've maybe played, out of all 4 of those, 3 titles total. Mm-hmm. Out of all 4 of those designers, I guess it's just not my wheelhouse.
I won't spoil it yet, but I wrote down 3. But one of the ones he had on there that I didn't talk about is on my top 3. So, but I'll hit that when I hit my list.
I bet you if you looked at all the games that they've produced, you've probably played a couple that you're not thinking about. Because Emerson's done a lot, and he's done some games that I could see being in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, Carlos is a BGG in it right now to try to find. Just click that little down. No, click the down arrow to the right and change it to designers, and that should start popping up. There you go.
Yeah,
I'll do some research and get back to you on that, Wayne. Have I played more than 3 games?
Oh, here we go. Here's the list.
Let's see. Emerson Matsuchi. Century. Okay. Century Golem.
You played Century.
Spectre Ops.
Spectre Ops.
Spectre Ops. Okay, we're at 2. We're at 2.
All right.
Shem Phillips, I think I played Raiders of the North Sea. So we're at 3. I can't think of anything Simone Luciani.
Foundations of Rome, you played.
I lied.
Okay.
4. I played 4.
Have you played? Have you never played Marco Polo?
You've played.
Voyages of
I
Marco Polo?
did get
I think you
top
did play
Marco
that one,
Polo.
yeah. So you played
Reef?
that.
Yes.
What about Reef?
5.
Reef
Negative.
is
Reef,
Matsuchi.
You played
Century Spice Road.
Yep.
Makes
Spice Road,
6.
Gollum, or
I beta tested Spice
Eastern
Road.
Wonders.
I'll see myself out.
There
Okay,
you go.
bye guys.
Bye. It's our show now.
What about Crossfire? That's another good one.
I haven't played
Crossfire.
That's the one that's in the same universe as the same system as the zombie one that Carlos has never played. That we're all appalled that Carlos has never played. Mike, you get disappointed every time you hear Carlos hasn't played it. The old zombie game, the
Winter, Dead of Winter.
Dead of Winter. There you go. Yep,
yeah.
That's that same.
So when you say
Crossfire system.
Crossfire, I was thinking the metal balls shoot them across.
Oh,
the
no.
I was thinking
no.
It's a little different. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, so you played 3 or 4 just from Emerson.
Okay. All right, so I can agree with Emerson.
Okay.
He
what
loses
was
me
the
at the
next
beginning of
one?
that list. We got more voicemails in the bag.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going with the voicemails. And really, folks, all of you at home who participated, thank you so much. All of you that didn't, we're going to do this again in a couple weeks with another topic.
Get on it.
So make sure you call in, and all you got to do is call in and leave a voicemail, a minute or 2 at tops. Not even, can be faster.
That way, if you're not comfortable even calling in and talking to us on the show, at least you can just prepare something, call in, leave it on the voicemail. You can still
Or if you know you're going to be busy during the live show, it's a great way to put some comments in.
Exactly.
The next voicemail, here we go.
Hey guys, this is Ron. I figured I'd contribute to the voicemail show and talk about some of my favorite designers. First off the bat is Corey Konieczka. He designed some of the games that I love, some of my top games, Star Wars Rebellion, Push, I love Imperial Assault, Star Wars Outer Rim. I like Mansions of Madness, Battlestar Galactica, the board game. So the guy's been doing it for a while, and these are some of my top favorite games on my list. But I also wanted to talk about Francisco Nepatello. He is one of the principal designers on War of the Ring, the board game, which is a game that is a longtime favorite of mine, as you folks know. Nepatello also designed the One Ring role-playing game. So, I count that as it's a tabletop game for sure. Also, he designed the Battle of Five Armies, which is a game I haven't played yet, but I'm looking forward to, and Dune War for Arrakis, which has DNA from War of the Ring. But the third designer I want to talk about is Phil Walker Harding. Now, Phil Walker Harding's games, they don't fall on my top 10 or even top 20. But, we've talked about Phil Walker Harding. It's like he has put out a lot of good games. And when I see that name on a box, or that game associated with that name associated with a board game, I know that game is going to be solid. It may not be amazing, but it's going to be solid. So those are the 3 guys that I want to talk about in game design, some of my favorite designers. Thanks.
All right. Ron Fraser. So, any comments on those? Those more in your wheelhouse, Carlos? I'm going to guess yes. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
You throw that Corey K in there,
Yeah.
and there's a list of games that I have enjoyed, expansions that were designed by him, work that he's done on Twilight Imperium, because was it Robert Peterson? Is that I know Peterson was the last name. Original owner and founder of Fantasy Flight Games, was the original designer of Twilight Imperium, but Corey helped him a lot with the new editions and expansions.
Okay.
Corey was Star Wars X-Wing, so Corey Knizia, Star Wars X-Wing.
Yeah.
So a lot of my gaming time was spent in that Corey K world.
Lives in space, it sounds like, yeah.
And kind of Ameritrash.
Battlestar Galactica, yeah. There you go.
Yep. Mansions of Madness.
All right, Mansions of Madness, of course,
Mansions of
that's a
Madness,
huge
yeah.
one, so you can't
That's the big one.
look past that one. That's everybody loves Mansions of Madness, right? Yeah. All right.
And Phil Walker Harding, Ron's not wrong.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be solid.
I was telling callers before the show that, I looked at Phil Walker Harding. I looked at his games. I haven't played a bunch of them. I was a little surprised that he had a bunch of titles that were pretty good big name titles that I hadn't played. And in just the games I'd played that were on the list, they were like, okay, well, those are good games. But so that didn't put him in my top level there. But yeah, so he's got a lot of good stuff, though, a lot of games out there.
I had him. He was the guy. He was the one I was going to talk about as far as, I don't know if it's favorite designer, but when I look at my collection, I have more of his games than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
It's like him and my new top one probably that I'll talk about. We'll see. But
Okay. Yeah.
he's good.
Ron corrects me. It's Christian Peterson.
Christian
Peterson of Twilight Imperium, of Fantasy Flight Games, who ended up selling it to Asmodee.
Yep.
And then went and started his own company again.
Yep. I think he kept the FFG center though, because they built a gaming center in Minneapolis,
just like last year,
Minnesota?
or the year before or something. Yeah, up there. I think Minnesota. Yeah,
one of the M states.
Yeah, Michigan, Minnesota.
Let's see, Edmund in the chat, all the way from Sweden. Hello, Edmund.
How's it going, Edmund?
All right, we got some more voicemails in here.
Queue up another one,
and a fresh one just came in too. So this is good. The voicemail bag is getting stuffed.
They're filling it while we talk.
All right, got a voicemail here. Here we go.
Well, my name is Mitchell Prudhomme. I'm from Louisiana. I'm sure everyone has forgotten about me by now. But anyway, I was just calling in really quickly to say the answer to this question, best designer, hands down, no questions asked, Jamie Stegmaier. End of conversation. However, if you guys want to claim that that's due to bias,
yes,
because I'm a Stonemaier fan. Did I say Jamie Stonemaier? Jamie Stegmaier. Because I'm a Stonemaier fanboy, I will also throw into the ring Shim Phillips. He just consistently puts out bangers with these different trilogies, and I think the marketing of having them in the same universe and using the same iconography just makes it very easy for him to envelop new gamers into his games and get him to sell even more. So not just from a design standpoint, but just from a marketing standpoint, I think Garpill's pretty great. Okay, bye.
Bye, Mitchell.
Bye.
So is that the second time we've heard Shim's name? So he's already got two in the bag there. So Shim's big name.
What'd Mitch say? He puts out bangers.
Bangers.
Bangers,
Putting
man.
out
I don't know about
bangers.
that.
Yeah.
Puts out games that slap.
Yeah,
Pretty good, but
Carlos had a little, and I had a little discussion about this before because I looked at his list, and he lives in a couple of worlds. And Carlos was saying I shouldn't take that away from him. I shouldn't count that against him because they are different games.
Well, because Rob said,
The series
literally what Rob said was, he really only puts out like one thing.
Yeah,
It's like the series.
It's the series.
Yeah.
That's the series of three. The series of three.
Series 3, same
So-
iconography, same basic structure, just some one or two new things here and
There's
there.
some tweaks to the gameplay. Yeah, there's a couple new mechanisms. He brings them in and out. So I don't know. I find that took it down a level for me. It's like, well, yeah, I do like a lot of his games, but he seems to, like, say, live in these couple of worlds, and I don't know. It didn't do it for me. But I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but it's kind of like a lack of diversity of design. They're all have a very similar feel, but that could be also brilliant. Like you could also argue that's kind of brilliant that he does it, and they're all playable, and they're, but
Yeah, and like Mitchell said in his, I think he commented there that there is a complex set of iconography. A lot of people complain about the iconography when they play the first one of the games in those series, but once you learn it, you know the same iconography for all of them. So once you get it down, it easily translates. So even though a few mechanisms are changing, you still can tell how to play the game just by kind of looking at it. So it's brilliant on one hand. For me, it just took something away because it seemed like it was almost cheating. It's like, you're not starting all over again. You're kind of using half of the old stuff and then half new stuff. So I don't know.
You know, when you plan a series of games that all work together and strategize that marketing plan, it's cheating.
Okay, it's cheating.
Yeah, we got BJ in the chat. What's up, BJ?
Hey, BJ.
Thanks for joining. We're talking favorite game designers, playing some voicemails. We just played one out of your neck of the woods, BJ, out of Louisiana. Our buddy Mitch left us a voicemail.
Might know that guy, Mitchell.
And now let's move to the next voicemail.
This is Jim Odak from Tampa, Florida. Leaving a voicemail, although I hate leaving voicemails. So favorite designer? Hard to choose between Stefan Feld and Vital Lacerda. I don't know if on a different day I could probably say which one I like better, and it'll change the next day. So I'll just start with Feld. I love Feld games. Can't get enough of them. In order of pretty much how I like his games that I've played. Marrakesh is my favorite. Trajan, Castles of Burgundy, Merlin, Bonfire, Hamburg, Amsterdam, Luna. There's probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more that I could probably name, but there's one for sure. And then Lacerda games, definitely different games, but they both do good things, right? So Lacerda games that I like, and in order: Lisboa, Gallerist on Mars, CO2, Vinos, Kanban, Weather Machine, even Inventions. Those two definitely the top two. I guess for a third one, Eric Lang, just because I really like Ankh and Rising Sun so much, but also does Blood Rage and The Godfather, Corleone Empire. And looking up, also apparently he's a co-designer for Marvel United. So there's my list. Hope this is not too long of a voicemail. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Oh, that's polite.
Well, thank you, Jim.
Very nice, Jim.
That was not too long. That was
no, you're good.
Lang
You're
was gonna
perfect.
Get mentioned.
Yeah, I looked at Lang. We talked about Lang a little bit before the show tonight, Carlos and I. I like Lang a lot. There's just a few of Lang's that I really didn't like at all, and so I don't know. I was not a fan. One of Jim's favorite games of all time is Ankh. I do not like Ankh. I love Blood Rage. What was the other one? The third one in the series, Ankh, Blood Rage.
And you won Ankh.
Rising Sun. I was okay on,
Rising
but
Sun.
I've won Ankh.
You beat me by a little bit.
Yeah, I've won
in
Ankh a couple
Louisiana.
times. I played it 3 or 4 times now, and so I think I've given it its due. I don't really enjoy it. I don't know what it is about it, but I don't. And I've never been part of a merge, so I mean that's the reason some people hold against it is that whole merge idea. You can play without the merge, but the game was designed for the bottom 2 players to merge at some point during the game. I've never been a victim of the merge, but I don't like Ankh. I don't know. And there was one other in his series. Was it the gangster one? I think I played. I wasn't I wasn't a big fan of that one. So.
For me, it was the Japanese theme, Rising Sun.
Yeah.
That one did not hit off well for me.
I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Not much else has failed to hit for Lang, so Lang's a strong contender for my favorite designer list. Now, when it comes to Feld and Lacerda, back to that whole Euro game thing, I've never played a Lacerda. Now, you can fact check me on this one, Wayne.
I haven't either.
Yeah, no. Because here's the thing is, I've never played Lacerda, so I know you've never played Lacerda.
I've finally played my first Lacerda game.
Which one was it?
Kanban
Prison
EV.
Break?
Oh, that's right. I saw you post that. That's right. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I got my rear handed to me, but it's something that I definitely want to play again sooner than later.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games, you got to play it more than once to really get a good strategy, and you're kind of feeling out the game the first time. But
I'm dying to play On Mars. I'm dying to play Lisboa. I'm dying to play. I want to try Weather Machine. A lot of people seem to not like Weather Machine. It was down at the bottom of Jim's list, but that one I want to try. It looks cool. Yeah.
And then when it comes to Feld, really for me, it's just been a one-hit wonder. Like I've only listened to one of his songs, and that's it. And it's Castles of Burgundy.
But that song is good.
Yeah, like Vanilla Ice. He's gonna have to ride on that one forever.
Yeah.
But Jim doesn't even call that his favorite Feld game.
Which one was his number one?
Marrakesh.
Marrakesh. Oh, Marrakesh is good. It is good. I mean, I don't think it's better than Castles of Burgundy, but it's good.
Oh, that's a good call.
Bora Bruges.
I did not like Trajan. When I looked at Feld, I held Trajan against him. For some reason, that one just completely fell flat for me. I did not like it. And everybody loves Trajan, but I didn't like it.
See, Rob actually takes negative points away from people.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, they got to bang. They got to be all bangers, right?
The bangers. Let's see. Next voicemail coming in.
Hello and happy Thursday, gentlemen. This is Nick from Wesley Chapel. Hey, Nick. So I am calling about the favorite designer, board game designer. And while many talented individuals have provided us many amazing games, as I thought about it, I kept thinking back to designers I have actually met and enjoyed as a person. And so for that reason, I am going to throw in the ring here, Eric Lang. Eric Lang, in addition to designing a ton of great games, everything from the classic Blood Rage through then the Rising Sun at the end of that trilogy, as well as putting his touches on Marvel United, a game that we play at the Oben household all the time. In addition to all that, he is a fantastic individual, fun to be around, just a joy to have in the community. If you've met him at a board game convention, he will happily take a selfie with you, and he'll give you the bunny ears behind because the guy just likes fun, right? I had the pleasure of learning a game, Foodies, from him at one of the conventions, and he was just great at the table, very engaging, great with the rules explanation, but also made sure that everyone at the table was having fun and enjoying the game, enjoying the play. So really, really great there. The last piece on Eric is, of course, he's done a great job at recognizing the place of minorities in the board game industry, which I think is great, and even left Come On, I think, in 2020 to kind of go freelance and focus on activism and whatnot in the industry. So just a great guy with a litany of good games under his belt. And so there you go. For those reasons, Eric Lane is my favorite designer. Bye-bye.
Okay, so not only did Nick introduce himself, he yayed himself, which is that's a turnaround. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Carlos?
Nick is creepy.
Oh, yeah,
like
creepy.
The way he described that was so like Hannibal Lecter-ish, like the people I've enjoyed. You know, I'm having them over for dinner,
and more.
It's actually beans. It's a cool way to look at it too, because like. We go to cons and meet some of these people in real life, and some of them are really personable. Some of them it could just be that they're shy individuals or they're kind of introvert, but it's kind of cool when you meet some of these designers and they are like really, and it's not even just like designers too, because you go to Dragon Con and you meet actors, or you meet like voice actors, or you meet artists, and they're like amazed that you love their work, and when they're cool about it and they're like, one of us also, it's kind of cool. And you always see pictures of Eric Lang just gaming in a con, right? Just hanging out, which is kind of cool. So,
oh yeah,
true.
Yep, I agree. We've met several. Ignacy was fun. He's always high energy, kind of fun, making jokes and stuff. Eric's great. Eric's signed tons of stuff for us and rule books and kind of messed around. Matsuchi, when I met him, he was really cool, really nice, real humble guy, kind of soft-spoken, kind of quiet. Who's the one who did the Arkham that's always at Dice Tower?
He has a track on Thunder Alley named after him. Lanius,
cool guy.
He did the expansion for Thunder Alley, by the way, if you didn't know that, Mike. Yep. Richard Lanius, I think he's out of Chicago. Does really? A ton of Arkham horror stuff.
Yeah.
But he loved Thunder Alley.
Yep. Just all those guys. I mean, I don't know that I've met a designer that didn't have some kind of personality, something kind of going for them, real nice people. So, yeah, it's really cool. Mm-hmm.
No, it's great. If you haven't gone and done the convention scene, you have to do it. Like we 100% recommend it.
Yeah.
It's just such a different way to experience the hobby when you experience it with 3,500 of your closest friends, and you get to meet with publishers, designers, and people who are in the industry and realize that they're gamers like you.
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
Absolutely.
All right, we got a voicemail that came in just a moment ago, so I was not able to screen it.
We're going unscreened? Okay.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Taking the training wheels off. Here we go.
Let's go.
Hey, I played the Star Wars X-Wing game. It's a lot of fun, but sometimes it just goes boing, dang, boing, 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 bang, bang, boom, bing, bong, bing, bong, boom. And I don't know how to prevent that from happening. Any advice would be great. See ya.
All right, here's my advice. Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. That's it.
That guy
smooths everything
it's
out.
That guy.
Yeah, it is that same guy. Yeah. Well, it wasn't quite on the topic, but
it was part of the voicemail bag.
Could have been worse if it was unscreened. Yeah, it could have gone the other way. Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. That empties out our voicemail bag, and it puts us right about at the bottom of the hour.
Oh, yeah.
So just like we said, we're going to open up the phone lines at the bottom of the hour. We're going to open them up now. 813-618-7099 is the number. The show is now yours. If you call in, the show goes to you for 10 minutes. It's yours.
Otherwise,
Call in.
Otherwise, we're going to do our thing. So let me just ask. We didn't pre-plan, as we don't often do here. Often don't often do, whatever it is. So let me just ask. I wrote down 3. I have a definite number 1, and I have 2 runners up. How many did you guys do?
Well, I originally just did the 1 as the your favorite game designer.
Yeah. You understood the assignment. Okay,
I understood the assignment.
I'm with Wayne,
but he was already talked about by somebody else, so I could pivot to somebody that hasn't been mentioned yet.
Well, you want to mention your number 1?
Just mention the one you chose.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go through and we're gonna mention the one that we chose, and then after we do our one,
I've got a number 1.
We can go back and talk about the runners up
if we have time.
Those that we felt almost or should have earned a spot on our list.
Well, in reality, actually, the one I was going to talk about, it was kind of a cheat because it's probably not my favorite game designer, but it was one that in the chat,
It's so hard, man.
It is.
This
It is hard.
impossible.
But like in the chat in the Discord server, plug for the Discord server, everyone started posting their favorite game designers over the last week or two since you mentioned the topic, and everyone was going for all the heavy hitters, right? All the heavy games and the Euro games and the thick games. And so like I had originally picked, I was like, well, let me go for someone that has some offerings that are more family weight or friendly and intro gamer friendly. So that's why I went with the guy I chose. But I'm gonna pivot.
Okay. Well, do you want to go ahead and lead off, or are you ready, or you want to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, here's what we'll do. We'll go directionally. We'll go from east to west, which puts Rob first because he's the farthest east of us all.
Oh, am I? Okay.
And then it would be me, and then it would be Wayne, and then Mike. That gives Mike a chance to make some decisions.
Yeah.
Mike, but I will caveat mine and say that I'm not choosing like my favorite of favorites. Like I'm in a place where I could not tell you a name today that I would give you the same name tomorrow. What I'm doing today is giving you my guy that I'm choosing for today to highlight as one of those that would circulate in that top 5, like any day of the week. If you gave me 20% chance, I'd give you this name. Right? That's how I did mine. It's hard to pick just one. But that's how I did it. So
after all that building, you're going to throw it to me.
Yep, and it's on Rob, who did choose 3.
All right. So I chose 3. Again, I can just mention 1 if we just want to do 1. That's fine. I've got 1 clear.
We're starting with 1.
My 1 is going to be my 1, and I'll just take a moment then to also say, but we talked about this last week. I found this hard to do because I don't ever ask who designed a game. When I sit down and play a game,
for me.
Yeah, when somebody pulls out a game and puts it on the table, I don't care who designed it. I don't care. I don't look at the box. I don't look at who published it. Don't look at who produced it. Sometimes you can look and you can tell. Sometimes the artwork and stuff, you're like, oh, that's the Meat Show or whoever. You can tell certain things.
Shem Phillips, you'll know Shem Phillips game,
right? Yes, that iconography, that one world that he lives in. Yep. So
wow,
I'm going hard.
You put him in a box.
I thought we were rough on Jamie, man. That was.
I picked 1 and I'm going down that path. But anyway, so this was difficult for me.
One trick pony.
But I did my homework. I spent a couple days going over this. And so when Carlos says that his could change from day to day, I don't think mine can. Looking at it, I came out with an answer different than I thought I was going to. But I pulled up the top 100 on BGG. I started clicking on every single one of them. I clicked on each designer, and I looked at all the games they had done, and I started looking down. And again, I did take points away. Carlos was joking earlier. I did. If they had 4 games that I liked and one that just really was garbage that I played, I did hold that against him, and so that came into my rating. So that's the way I did it. But anyway, to get to the point, my clear winner, once I looked at all of them, was Uwe Rosenberg. And so there were a lot of designers that I looked at, and I was like, man, I just haven't played enough games from that. I'm sorry. Carlos actually gave me something to show here, but you're going to set it up there. So Patchwork is the game that Carlos owns from Uwe. So I'm at Carlos's place. I didn't even think to bring an example game, but I own several of Uwe's games, some that I listed here that I have played that I really enjoy. One of my favorite games of all time, Caverna, done by Uwe. Agricola. It's kind of a clone of Caverna, or actually Caverna's came after.
Talk about your one-trick pony.
Yeah, there you go. La Havre is very similar. I like what Uwe does. Patchwork, he made a wonderful two-player game. So this is kind of a completely different design. Patchwork, awesome two-player. I don't like the fact that there's 15 different versions of Patchwork now. That cheapens it for me a little bit, but I mean, whatever. So, but I love Patchwork. Feast for Odin, awesome game. That one is a little different than these others. And then a game that's completely different, Nova Luna, a little tile placing, matching up different colors, putting together different patterns for points. And then I have one game here I have to mention. Unfortunately, we talk about taking away points. This didn't hurt him enough, but one of the worst games I ever played, ever, is a game called Hangest that he designed. If you've never heard about this, go on BGG and look at it. Many people will rate this as the worst game ever made. This game is actually broken, and it came out shortly after that it was put out. There's a way in the first round you can make a move where nobody else can win the game. You just automatically win. Nobody can make a move. Nobody can do it. When did it come out? Oh, yeah. It was a while ago.
One of his first ones?
No. It wasn't. It was. I want to say it was in the middle somewhere of his design career, probably about 10 years ago. Yeah, okay. It's just. It's a dud. I think the BGG rating was like a 3.2, or was the score for it or something. It's one of the worst rated games ever. It's really, really bad. It's a little box, kind of like Patchwork. It's a little bit bigger than the Patchwork box. But Uwe Rosenberg, again, I would have thought differently coming into it. But when I started looking at the list, I started doing my homework, started looking at all the games. Uwe was number one for me. So that's
one of the worst games of all time.
Yep.
Wasn't enough to knock him down.
Wasn't enough because he got all these other ones that I really, really like, and he's got so many more that I want to play that I still haven't played. So I could list 5 or 6 more games that I'm dying to get to the table. But yeah, Uwe for me.
Nice.
Yep. All right, who's next, Carlos?
Yep,
You got this whole east to west thing. I
a little more west of you.
What the hell you're doing? But okay.
He's looking around.
He's got a globe out, and he's measuring the longitude lines.
It's because my designer that I've chosen
Patchwork,
for today's game.
Oh, wow.
I keep forgetting titles. Like I've got my. Let me get it over here.
Yeah, so we start getting
Stack
the parade of games here.
Yeah. Look at that. This is a stack.
That doesn't. Yeah. Camera doesn't work.
But every time I look around my game room, and Rob can attest, it is a wreck in here still. Much better.
It's getting there. It's a way better.
The studio's getting a lot better. Yeah. But the majority of my games are in IKEA zip-up bags, right? Kind of set aside. But of the games that are readily accessible, when I looked around, it's Paolo Mori. Paolo Mori is on every one of my shelves for different reasons on different types of games, like the range that this guy has and the amount games that I had no idea that were his that I played years ago, such as Pocket Battles by Z-Man Games. I've got them all. I bought them all. This is just an example of one of them. It was a whole series of these
4
games.
of them in the series or something?
I think 6.
6, okay.
Pocket Battles, I've got them all. They're, Orcs versus Elves, the Civil War version, the Romans versus the Persians, the Celts, and it's and Macedonians. It's maybe 8 of them. Anyway, I got them all, and what key for me is his range, and they're not, I guess, what Rob would call a one-trick pony, Shem Phillips. They all have different mechanisms. I've listened to interviews of him, and when they ask him, what are your favorite mechanisms? He goes, well, I don't really have favorite mechanisms. I look at the game and what I'm trying to convey theme-wise, and then I decide how to do that. Right? That's skill. Like that's mad props. Blitzkrieg is a bag pulling shit game designed for World War II.
Careful.
Where you control theaters.
Your language there, man.
No, it's not after 10 o'clock yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so what about Caesar? This is a bag pulling where you pull tokens, not chits, because they're circular.
Big difference.
And you're vying for control of provinces based on tokens that have 2 powers on one on each side. As you lay a token to control a province, it puts power on one province because you place it on the border while putting power on the other province. So you're having to decide how much power you're going to put on each province with each time you play a token. You know, you can have a token that has a 0 and a 5 for power, knowing that you're going to give up one province to control another. Love it. Ethnos. I know we talk a lot about Ethnos. It's upside down. It's ugly. But that's not his fault.
Keep going.
That it's ugly. Ethnos is area control with card selection, so not quite drafting, right? But also creating sets that have variable powers. Libertalia. I mean, both versions. I've played both versions. I will say the theme-wise, I enjoyed the first version better. When it comes to the second version, I enjoy the mechanisms better. The mechanisms in the new Winds of Galecrest by Stonemaier Games, that version I think has a better rule set, whereas the other one has better artwork. And then I even forget, and that's what I was looking on my side. Rob said I was pulling up BGG. The reason I'm pulling up BGG is because I'm forgetting Fall of Rome, a Pandemic game. That was done by Paolo Mori, right? He took Pandemic and made it Roman and made it barbarians now, and they all have different powers and different ways that they attack. Michael, you talked about Dogs of War being one of your Grail games that it took you forever to find. That's Paolo Mori.
Yep.
Rise of Augustus.
You played all those?
No, these are all his games.
Okay, I was just saying I could list games that are just big names from a title, but this was games we played, so let's keep it to that, right? I mean, I could.
Well, okay, so the one that I added was Warlords. Everything else I played.
Okay, all right.
Warlord.
All those. Okay.
Warlord's the only. Dogs of War. That's the only one I haven't played.
Okay. So you played
I'll vouch for that
Pandemic one?
Yes.
Did I play that one?
No, that was me and William. We played. There's an episode on the show.
Gotcha.
Go back and check out the videos. William and I played on, and you can see the differences of that version of Pandemic and why it is one of most people's favorite versions or favorite ways to play Pandemic.
Okay.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know what? Don't tell me how to decide my favorite.
Oh, yeah?
I don't have to have played it.
I thought that was part of the. I thought that was part of the rules here. We had to.
I never
play
have
the games.
rules.
We're
Oh, no.
changing
I just
the rules
said-
on the fly, man.
There's never rules,
Just
Making
wait
it
till
up.
you get to
Making
me,
it up.
man. My rules are going to be so out of whack.
and that's what I love about the show is there's no set way to do this. You decide who your favorite designer is today.
I'm changing mine then.
for whatever reasons you have.
Okay.
Paolo Mori is me.
No Uva. Nice.
No, I think Rob made a good choice.
who's
with
next?
Uwe.
No, I think it's a good choice. I think Uva is definitely one of the. He's up there. He's got a lot of good games. I think.
I think about 2 miles west of me is Wayne.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think more than 2 probably. We'll say. But so I looked at again. Going back, I looked at a lot of people were posting favorite game designers, and people were posting a lot of the heavy ones. So I did look at my collection, and I'm like, well, if I own the game, it's probably and whose games do I own the most of? And there are 2 that kind of rise to the top. So Ron talked about one, so I'm going to I'll say that as my second round. So I'll say my actually probably my favorite game designer is someone who I've played a lot of his games and I own a lot of his games is The Good Doctor, Reiner Knizia. Tigris and Euphrates, Quest for El Dorado, Ra, Modern Art, Samurai. I own several of those. Lost Cities I own. Through the Desert, Taj Mahal, Medici, which I've talked about that a ton. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I played that a lot. Yellow and Yangtze, own that and played it. Mille Fiori, which is a recent one.
Just backed his latest Kickstarter too.
Yep. Hollywood Blockbuster, Drum Fabric, Nightmare Productions. The several versions of that game. I played that. I've introduced it to a lot of the crew here. Colossal Arena, which was redone in the last year or two as
I want that one. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm never talking about, but I want that one.
Not Archeo Society. Oh my God, my brain. I'm still kind of like getting back into the swing of things. But anyway,
The right time zone.
Yeah, the right time zone, and work has been crazy. But Lord of the Rings, Class Arena, Zuvadis, he's just got a ton of games. He's been around forever, but he's got those 3 or 4 games, those auction bidding games that I tend to really love and play a lot of. So he would probably be my favorite game designer just because I have more of his games than most other people. Like I Stefan Feld's up there and Uwe's up there, but I don't own a lot of their games. I have a few here and there, and obviously Castle's being my all-time favorite is Feld, but rest is I own more and play more of the Good Doctor. So probably my favorite game designer of all time would be Dr. Renner Knizia.
I just haven't played enough of his games. I think there's a lot of big titles in there. I haven't played them, so I got to get more of them played so I can have a better opinion. Yeah.
I think even little box games like Loot, right? Dr. K keeps showing up in my shelves, and that's why I disagree with you, Wayne. I'm gonna throw a flag on the play when it comes to your methodology for deciding this. When you say based on the number of games you own by the Good Doctor has pretty much made 10% of all board games in history
ever made.
737.
I could swing my arm in here and probably hit 8 Dr. K games. He's 737 games designed by the guy.
Ridiculous.
You're gonna own a lot of his games. He just makes them.
That is true. That is a valid
Does that
point.
stop him from being a good designer, though?
No.
I mean,
I'm just messing.
And in Rob's eyes, I mean, I'm sure a lot of those are stinkers.
Just repeats,
so in
yeah.
Rob's,
Just
that's a
repeat
lot.
the same formula.
He actually, and well, if anyone does, I mean, he has kind of a math thing. I mean, obviously, the dude's, I think he's a mathematician or something like that, whatever his doctorate's in, but he has a shtick that he sticks with, and he pumps out a lot of small games, but his bigger games are really, really good. And I think you look at the 3 auction bidding games, the Raw, the Hollywood Blockbuster, and Medici, they're just solid, and they're all somewhat different in how it handles that auction system. Where I think I put some up there for me because I played the hell out of those games.
They stand the test of time.
Good choice, yeah.
Well, Michael, I hope we primed the pump for you and got your juices going.
Big finish. Better
Let
be
you
good.
make a decision
Better
here.
Better be good.
So the one I told you before I lied.
Okay.
This designer, every single thing he's made, I've loved.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna prep it with that. And it is Tom Matson. And the reason why I say everything he's made I love is because he's only done Vindication and Unsettled.
Oh.
And these are
wow.
2 games that are always high on my list. Every time
Bangers.
I play them, I wish I could play them more. He works for a company, or Orange Nebula. He's usually teamed up with I forget the other guy's name, but they haven't put anything bad out yet. And
Mark
I
Needlinger?
can't wait for Spirit Fire to come out. It's the 2 games that they've done have been totally different from each other. They kind of play on the same color scheme of stuff, and I think that's based because they're I think they originally started out as a marketing company, so they really do know how to play to your feels on games, and just I just love these games. I wish I could play them more. And just to preface this is such a hard question because I'm kind of like Rob. I really don't care who designed the game. I'm gonna play the game, and if I like it, I like it.
Right.
Somebody could say to me, "Oh, Hargrave designed this game." Okay, whatever. Let's just play the game. So there's and I'll be honest, I haven't played a ton of games. When you really look at the grand scheme of things, I haven't played a ton of games. So it's like I've got 2 games that this designer made that I really love, and I've got 3 games over here and 1 game over here. It's so hard to narrow that down. In my position, at least, where I haven't played that many games. I mean, I've been in the industry I've been in the hobby for a little bit, but not enough to really make an educated statement on this is who I love the most, or this is who I think is the best. So, but anyway.
Well, if he's 2 for 2 for you, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I took the easy way out. Now I do have a whole list of other ones that I can definitely go through when we come back around, and rattle off some games that they've done that I absolutely love, or that I look forward to playing. But
And a quick note on those 2 games. I don't know if y'all have Carlos and Wayne, if y'all have played either or both of those games, but I know Carlos has played Vindication. You played with
Yes.
us, yes, but you haven't played Unsettled.
No.
Okay. World building is the thing in those two. Vindication, even though it is cubes and it's just kind of placing out tiles, building a map. People talk a little bit about the story. I never really got into the story, but I guess there is a backstory and expansions flesh that out
a lot.
Okay, I haven't played any of the expansions, but world building in both of these, that Vindication world, whether you like the game or not, I think once you play it, you are going to remember kind of what was going on there. You're going to kind of remember that world that you were put in. Oh, Carlos won't.
No, I do.
Yeah,
I totally do.
Does, yeah.
Oh, and that was pretty vocal that you were just kind of like, where's the story in this?
Well, it felt weird, and I'll say this: it felt weird because playing Vindication, there was so much. And I said this at the time. There was so much energy and effort in the design and selection of locations, what they feel like, what they look like, what they're named. But what you didn't get was any like flavor text or narrative for each location.
I 100% agree with you on that. Yes.
So it let you fill in the gaps, like this scary cave, right? It's a scary cave. Why is it scary? Because it's got bodies in it. Like you have to decide what the narrative is or what flavor text you're going to give to it. And I think that was my feedback at the time, which was, man, they put so much energy and effort in creating this world. Why couldn't they give us fluff to go with it?
Yeah. I get it.
And then Unsettled, same thing, just touching on it. Unsettled, it's all about the world building. Unsettled, you got these different planets you're visiting. Each
and
planet.
The narrative.
Yeah, and the narrative.
There's the fluff.
Funny story you read.
It showed up with the fluff.
Yeah, humor that they put in there. Yeah, it's really good. So those two guys, definitely world building is the thing I remember about them. So those two games. But cool. All right, interesting choice. Yeah, that's one I didn't. When you said the name, I had no clue. And then when you mentioned the games, it's like, oh, yeah, those games. Those are awesome. Yeah, cool. Good choice.
Well, that was our topic for the show. And, I mean, we did all the voicemails and went through ours. And I think we're going to come back around for another pass here to talk about some, maybe close to being our top favorite or why we didn't choose them.
Yeah.
I'll lead it off and say, for the most part, you asked me who my favorite designer is going to be, and it's probably going to be either Richard Borg or Eric Lang, but I felt like that was easy answers for me. Like those were simple answers that I'll always say every time.
That's who you like. That's who you like.
Right? It is, but it's I always talk about their games. I always give love and praise to their games. So I wanted to do one that was in my top that I really haven't talked about in that way, and Paolo is that.
Cool. So that's your
that was my runner up
or your runners up. Okay,
Eric Lang and Richard Borg designer of Commands and Colors, Memoir 44 for those folks, and most folks know it as Memoir 44 by Days of Wonder. His whole shtick is war games, but he has a variety of different games like Liar's Dice and some Yahtzee games that were published by Hasbro that are out there as well. Some versions of Yahtzee. So he's I don't know if I call that range, but it's not a one-trick pony, Rob.
Yeah, well, it's different. It's definitely different. Okay, so my runners up, two runners up here. I kind of ranked them. I think my number 2 was Jamie Stegmaier. So I'm going to jump on the Mitchell train there, the fanboy. I looked at Stegmaier, and some of those games get kind of blurry. When I first think of Stegmaier, I automatically think Wingspan. Wingspan obviously is not Stegmaier. That is his company, but not. I mean, that's Hargrave. So
I think Scythe immediately, man.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's your. So just some quick ones that I really like. I really like Euphoria, Scythe, Tapestry, Viticulture, and Expedition. Those are all games that I've really enjoyed. Expedition's a step down, I think, from all those the other 4 that I mentioned there. But those are games that I'll play. Euphoria, Scythe, Tapestry, and Viticulture pretty much anytime. Anytime I'm somewhere and those games are on the table, they're looking for a player, I'll don't never hesitate to jump any of those. So Stegmaier, definitely one of my probably clear number 2. And then I saw it come up in the chat earlier. BJ mentioned that somebody had to call out Simone Luciani. That's my number 3. And so that is, again, another one that before I did this list, before I started doing my research a couple days ago, I never, ever would have even hardly known the name. And then as I'm going through that BGG Top 100, just clicking on games, clicking on designers, and started looking at his list. Tzolk'in, I love Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. Voyages of Marco Polo, the follow-up, Marco Polo 2, whatever it's called. Both really good games. Lorenzo Il Magnifico, wonderful Euro Barrage, a heavy-duty Euro game, really on the heavier end. Golem, a game that didn't get a whole lot of love. I've only played it once, but I really enjoyed Golem when I played it. So he's got these definitely thinky Euro games, very procedural, enough variety in what he did. Sulkin with those turning gears, jumping on the gears, jumping off. The whole idea of this put on, pull off mechanic. You get the thing when you take your worker back off. You decide how far you want to push your luck. You want to go around these gears. I mean, just really cool, kind of different, interesting things. And so Simone Luciani, I never would have come up with that name. I probably wouldn't have thought of him in my top 20. And then when I sat down and started looking at these games, he ends up being my number 3. So that's mine. So Uwe, Jamie Stegmaier, and Simone Luciani.
Nice.
Who's up next?
I still go after Renner, Knizia, people already talked about Stefan Feld. That would probably be in my, and then the third one is the lighter game designer. It would be Phil Walker Harding, which Ron Fraser talked about. I think people. The Brothers Murph started. I think it's Brothers Murph that started the whole Praise Be thing.
Yeah, first time I heard it.
Yeah, and when I look at it, I looked at all the games I own, and I'm like, man, I own a lot of games from Phil Walker Harding. Sushi Go Party, Baron Park, Gizmos, Imhotep, Cacao. Let's see, Gingerbread House, Summer Camp, My Shelfie. I own most of those, and they're all good games, right? There's no real stinkers in there, right? I think the lightest, not highest rated games, Oh No Volcano, it's kind of like a little Plinko game, but I remember my kid loves it, right? I can play all these kid games with my kid, and most of them I can play and pull out and play with this group and other folks from our group here. So it's kind of like he hits a sweet spot of games that you can sell in Target to the mass market to get people into the game industry. So I got a lot of respect for that, because they're solid games, and there's a ton of them out there that kind of are in that. Cloud City is another one that I own, which is kind of fun. So probably my third would be in here would be Phil Walker Harding, because it's not the heavy games that we all love to play. Because even like Carlos was talking about war games, those are still heavy games. And Mike, you have the big campaign games, and Rob's got his campaign games, and him and I both have the heavy Euros. But in between all that, we can crank out a bunch of these games and still have a lot of fun with them. So Phil Walker Harding.
Nothing hits harder. Nothing's a banger like Gizmos.
Right.
Gizmos legit.
Probably his
I
best.
do love that game. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got 84 games, and he's not he hasn't been around in the industry that long, so pretty cool.
Sweet.
Any runners up? Any honorable mentions for you, Mike?
Oh yeah, Jamie was definitely in there, but again, you got to take this with a grain of salt. Some of these guys are just because it's like one or twosies that I really enjoy their games. So Jamie, definitely. Another one is Trevor Benjamin, who's notorious for his Undaunted series. All of those, I absolutely love all those games. Plus, he did Resist, which is another big one that people seem to love. He's also going to be doing Undaunted 2200. Ignacy, for obvious reasons, 51st State, Robinson Crusoe. He did like the whole detective series, which I haven't played, but I know it's kind of half and half. I think it's divided on who actually likes that game. And the last person, which is kind of odd. Well, I shouldn't say it's odd, but Ryan Lockett. The guy does everything. The guy does his art. He does the design. He's like not that he's a one-man show, but when you see a game, it's a Ryan Lockett game. Like as soon as you see the artwork, I love Above and Below. It was like one of my first games I was introduced to when I started gaming, and I loved the narrative bit of it. I didn't even care about winning. I just wanted to go into the caverns to hear the next story. Plus all the other games. Now he's definitely had some stinkers. Nightfall, I think, is one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life. It's a smaller game, but that whole, this and this series of games like Near and Far, here and just
Above and Below, yep.
Yep, all those, and the Sleeping God series. plus Rome, which I'll give credit to Nick for introducing me to. I always pass that game up. I just never thought anything of it, and I actually enjoyed that game a lot. It's not a huge game. It's not deep by any means, but I think he's had more hits than stinkers, probably. And I know there are a number of games that he's put out that a number of people, like, nobody even knows that they exist, probably. But I think he deserves to definitely be on that list. So
nice.
Those are mine.
All right, that gets us about an hour into the show. That was our main topic. That's what we plan on spending time on. So now we need phone calls to fill in the rest of this hour, this next hour.
We're going to try to have a couple of these guys update some top 20 lists tonight.
If we're ready, let's roll. 813-618-7099 is the number. We're going to go into updating some top 20 lists for Mike and Wayne, who were not available for the first week show of this month. We updated our list. Wayne, do you want to lead us off?
Sure.
How many do you have, Wayne?
I have 4 new and 1 moved.
Woof. Okay.
Yeah. But I go quick, man. So. I talk quick, so.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about the length. I was like, oh wow, 4 games you're adding. That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna share this.
What's sad is the ones that leave.
Yeah.
Somebody get knocked off.
I kind of feel, you feel bad. So the 4 that fell off my list, there's Skull Hollow, which I just need to play it again. Like I played it early in the year with my kid, was really liking it. I really want to get.
I need to play it with like a grown up.
Yeah, we can play.
Yeah, I was just putting my ice mall ice, the
other one.
Mall Peak.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, the frozen version, the Frosthaven version.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I got to play this with like a grown up.
We get together and play that a couple times. It'll pop back on my list. Takenoko, which I've played in person and now a bunch of times on BGA in the last couple of weeks. I enjoy the game. I don't see this coming back on my top list. It's still a game that I really enjoy because I love the theme and the artwork. But it's a solid game. And again, Flashpoint is just, I've played it once when the Kickstarter came out. So if I play it again this year, it'd probably go back on my list. And then Camel Up, which is a fun game, but it might be in the kind of the Takenoko range where it's a fun game, but I don't know if it would make my top 20 list of plays in a year, given 200-300 games, or say 200 games in a year. So that's that. Now let's get into the top 20. So Marvel United has fallen down to top 20. I can see this again being sort of the Camel Up Takenoko, where it's a really fun game. I enjoy it, but not sure it will stay as I play more and more games.
And I'll pause for a moment here, watching the Dice Tower top 100s that they're going through. I'm always surprised to see how high this game ranks with so many different people in that network.
It is interesting
because I feel like you, Wayne, where it's in that lighter world, family light game. That wouldn't make it that high, but man, there's some love for Marvel Up.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they do that. I think if we're doing top 20, so it's got to be pretty, specific, right? If we had a top 100, most of these games would be in the top 100 easily, right?
Sure.
So, yeah. Let's see, Clank down to 19. This is a game that will move up or could move up if I played, and I really would like to get. I've only ever played sort of original base Clank. I've never played In Space, never played Catacombs. So I would like to maybe at Dice Tower, maybe try to play one of the other versions of it and get it go there.
I like both of those, yeah.
Yeah, Mille Fiori, dropping down the list a little bit, just based on the one play that I had. Hey, it's a Renner Knizia game, so there you go. If I play it again, it could probably move up. First new one on the list, Federation. This is one I played last year at Dice Tower East, and we played rules wrong, and so it gave a sour taste in my mouth. And then we played it live on BGA. Mike, Rob, and I now got in a couple other games of it going. And now that I understand the rules and realize what we played wrong in the in-person play at Dice Tower East last year, the game's growing on me. There's a lot of combos you can kind of build up. You're doing the whole voting mechanism. You have this kind of the two sides of the Senate, and you have all these planets you're moving on. So there's tracks, and you can kind of, if you get a good flow going, you can get a lot of cool combos. So the game's growing on me. Don't know how much higher it's going to go. It's a very solid game, but I don't think it'll crack my top 10 with further plays. But it's a pretty solid game. So
achievement to Mike for taking a game that would have never made the list, teaching it in a way that gets it on the top 20.
Yeah, I even taught it wrong. So I missed some rules when
I missed a couple, but yeah, but the good thing is
it.
like the rules you missed, VGA corrects, and that was the good way to do it. Yeah. Biblios, we've talked about that a ton on the show, so I'm not going to go into that. Planet Unknown, really still love that game. To me, like I said a number of times, it's like a cross of Barren Park and the Great Split, because you have all the tracks you're working upon, and you're in the polyon modes that you're trying to play. So it's a good little puzzle. Clicked off there. Number Starship Captains, number 14.
Oh,
picked up this game. It's a lighter game too, but it's just fun. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and so this game is just kind of like Star Trek episode the game where you're moving from. It's kind of pick up and deliver, but you go into planets and you're completing missions. And the interesting mechanism where you have the workers that are kind of like some are in the ready room, and then they come into the bridge, and you can use them for different things. And you can upgrade the workers. Just a fun game, and it's a game that I know that my wife will get into when I play with her, and it's light enough where I think my kid can handle it as well, but I think it's good enough for gamers to play. It probably doesn't have the landing strip, the long run of play. I can see it getting old after 5, 10 plays, 15, 20 plays, something like that, but I'll enjoy it while I have it, so that's why it's on the kind of in the bottom half of the list. New Bedford, I've talked about that. I think even before I left for Japan, I played this a couple times last month, and this is just a solid worker placement, old school Euro game where you're building the town of New Bedford and going out whaling. It was
because of you, Wayne, I found it on the virtual flea market for Dice Tower East, and I put my name down for it.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
I think it was in like the $20 range, so
yeah,
not a bad deal either.
Pick it up pretty easy. Yeah, like I said, it got bashed because the original Kickstarter had a lot of misprints and stuff like that. But it's a solid game that's fast because it's like 12 turns, but you only have 2 workers that you're placing. And then once you start setting out ships for whaling, it takes a little bit more, but it's kind of a cool mechanism, and I just like the historic aspect of it. So New Bedford made the list. Barcelona, we've talked about that before. It's on the list. Just need to play it again, get it moved up and down.
For the folks at home, we are at number 11.
11. Sorry. Yeah, so number 11, Fleet the Dice game. Yeah. All right. Hey, I'm out of practice. I've been gone for a little while. So.
Yeah.
Get back into it.
I expect you to provide this all in Japanese, but
yeah,
you spent
exactly.
so much time overseas.
Number 10, hitting my top 10, Maracaibo. Learned this in person with James Odak, and then have played 5 or 6 other games on BGA now. The game is, I really am mad now that James grabbed the copy, blinged out copy from Daryl. So I'm like, I keep checking the virtual market for Dice Tower East, like hoping there's a copy that pops out there, because I do want to pick it up because there's a campaign aspect of it. I like the Age of Sail, the Pirates, the Caribbean, like that whole kind of thing. So the game's up my alley. And once you learn and it gets clicked on you, kind of some of the little intricacies of how you sail and how you choose where to go, the game plays great. It's kind of a fun little puzzle. So yeah, Maracaibo I think can continue to climb if I can get a copy and played more in person. So and then First Rat moved up a little bit. I just dig this game. It's a really solid game. I think this is like Chocolate Factory, First Rat. I think there's like the 5 or 6 games that I could talk about that came out from like that 2021 or 23-ish range that got lost because of kind of the pandemic and the whole, and stuff like that. So it's a fun theme. Rats thinking that they can go to space, and the way you kind of work your way up. So it's just never had a bad play of it. So I think that's why I moved it up, because it's like, I really have just, you think about it, you play a game and sometimes you just have a bad play, or that just didn't work out right. Or even if you don't win, who cares? It was just a good play. I've taught First Rat to 5 or 6 different groups, played it with a bunch of people, and it's just never not hit. So it's just always been kind of a fun play. So number 9, First Rat. And then I think the rest of mine are unchanged. Number 8, Istanbul. Number 7, Creature Comforts. Number 6, Blood Rage. Number 5, Captain Sonar. Number 4, Lords of Waterdeep. Number 3, Mansions of Madness. Number 2, Village. And then number 1, Dune Imperium. So I think what we saw is like the games I played last month, a lot of them hit my list, but they hit towards the bottom of the list. Where the previous month, I had like 3 or 4 new ones, and they were all at the top of my list. So I thought that was kind of interesting that one month to the next, it was like I had the 3 or 4 that went right to the top, and then this month for 3 or 4 that went kind of like mid-level. So that's my top 20.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
I love going through these lists because as we always go through them, I'm always like, man, I got to get that game to the table.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
I got to get that game to the.
Yeah.
So which game was it?
Well, like Lords of Waterdeep. I can't remember the last time I played that game, but the last time I played it, which was years ago, it was like one of the best games. Like not the game itself, but like that play was one of the best plays I've ever had of that game, and it just like it was just good times, man. That it gives you good feels thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, let me move on to my list.
Ready to get some good feels from Mike's list?
Well, we'll see.
That's to be seen.
Let's see here. Okay, so all right.
Mike's got his fancy with the photos.
You know me, man. I'm always breaking rules. And am I presenting?
Nope.
Oh, and hang on. Make sure we get you in there.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, we got a call.
Got a call coming.
Saved by the bell. Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Aaron from Columbus. How we doing?
Hey.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, so I thought I'd call real quick, get in maybe before Mike jumped into his list, so I don't mess that up. But,
you were spot on, perfect.
Yeah, I'm watching as I'm kind of looking at some of the notes I took. I knew there were going to be two that was kind of a close call, and I think ultimately, for me, my favorite designer is Bruno Cathala. He's got enough there that I've enjoyed, but two of his games are in like my top 5, 6 all time. 5 Tribes and Abyss. I would play those anytime. I love both of those games so much. And then it's just got a pretty good track record of some other games, right? Like Seven Wonders Duel, Jamaica, Yamatai, did King Domino. There's some others in there. So he's kind of got the best of both worlds with having some games I really, really love. With a good mix of just other great games, and I mean he's one of the probably top 10 well known designers out there. I just kind of he's been doing it for a while, so
for sure.
So I think I would put him at number 1.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think anyone mentioned him. But yeah, that's a great. I said that's a great pick because I'm looking through it. I'm like, man, he would be in my top 5 for sure.
I mentioned it to Rob pre-show. Because I was like, Cathala was on my top list, and for me, it's the range, like the variety of the. Mm-hmm. You can do a Bruno Cathala game night and not feel like Rob would feel after playing some Shem games.
They were all the same,
right? Right,
one trick pony.
If Rob did a Shem night, he would feel like he just played one game with
big long game
with a bunch of varieties. Yeah. If you did a Cathala night, you would have a variety of themes and mechanisms and feels and lengths and componentry. Good call out there.
Good call. I looked at him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll throw a few others out here, and I won't talk. I know Wayne mentioned Phil Walker Harding. He was my, number 2. I think he's got he doesn't miss, right? All of his games are good, solid games, but again, for me, he just doesn't have any that I would say are, all time favorites. So anytime he comes out with a game, it's a good chance it's going to be good, if not great, but. I don't know that he has. I don't know if I put any of his games in my top 25, 30. But then there's a ton right after that just all play really well. So Phil Walker Harding was on my list. And then, some of the other ones were mentioned, Stegmeyer, Jamie, he's got some good ones. But there were a few here that I think I've been really impressed with, but they just don't have the catalog or the history to feel confident that they could be.
Don't let that stop you. It didn't stop Mike.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so, we talked a little bit about Emerson Matsuuchi in the past, but he's done Reef, Century, Foundations of Rome. I think those are all 3 fantastic games. So, he doesn't have much else, but that's a solid 3 for me. I looked at Stan Kordonsky. He's done Lockup, Resurgence. I was a little cooler on Endless Winter than some, but he's also got a kind of a lesser known game, Old West Impresario, that I enjoyed. Tom Lehman did Res Arcana, the city, Roll for the Galaxy.
I was going to mention him,
Res
but he
Arcana,
only
Roll for
has
the
the one
Galaxy.
game that I've
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, me too. I just hadn't played more than one of his games. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people love Race. I prefer Roll, but those three I think are all solid. And then someone who's been around a lot that I think is kind of, I don't know, been forgotten is Antoine Balza. Seven Wonders Duel, Takedo. I know Takedo isn't for everyone, but it's one of the first games I kind of got into the hobby, and I picked up Navigi as well. And I know that had some bad press with Funforge and some of the issues they're having, but Antoine Balza's got a pretty solid catalog. Draftosaurus is a real light one that the family loves, and I think she's done pretty good with that. So
Hanabi, that is awesome when it comes to co-op, like introducing co-op to folks, hidden information.
And then the last one I had here was Evan Lashin, Smartphone, Inc., Mobile Markets, and Furnace. Again, not much of a catalog, but those are some good first games. Like, I think if any designer came out and had those games as their first couple, they would feel pretty good. So I kind of rounded out the list of designers favorites, but then others that I would say I am keeping kind of an eye on to see what else they come out with.
Yeah, solid picks there. Those are all pretty much designers that I had looked at some point, and just for various reasons. Either I hadn't played enough of their games, or maybe they only had one or two that I really, really liked, so that kept them off my top three. But definitely some good picks there.
It was an interesting topic. I think, I talked about too, this idea of publishers is that maybe a bigger factor in swaying someone to say, hey, we know this publisher puts out great games despite who the designer is. I think there's certainly some of those that I follow as well, but there are some designers that hit my sweet spot more times than not. So, I like that mid to mid heavy. I don't want to go. I don't play too many games that are too heavy. So these designers, I think, all are on a little bit of a just to the midway. Some of them are even doing some lighter games too. But I don't have any kind of. There's some games I enjoy. I'd like to get more Feld played. And I think I was asking this on maybe it was a Dice Style forum. Someone asked a question. Castles of Burgundy, got it and played it the first time. It's been about a year ago when the special edition came out. I played it 5 times since, and it is. I think it has surpassed Wingspan as my number one game of all time. So
as it should.
There we go.
Wayne agrees.
I agree.
Sit down, Wayne. Sit down.
Good. And I love Wingspan. I do. I love what Wingspan offers, but man, Castles of Burgundy is just the right weight. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I know some people think it goes a little long. I think probably 3 players is the best. You get the best of kind
I've
of
never felt that
play, but even at
with
4,
Castles.
Even at 4, I don't care. Like I'm enjoying the strategy the whole time.
You know what's even more important on that comparison, Aaron? I think is Castles of Burgundy has, compared to Wingspan, has randomness in all the right places. Like, that's how I feel about Castles. It's got randomness, but like it's in the right place. It's like right where you want it, where you can manipulate it, or sometimes you get screwed by it. Whereas Wingspan, that randomness in that damn bird box
could be worse.
Right.
and I know some of the expansions solve it, but really in Wingspan there is a point where the egg spamming can be like, it's kind of like a default thing that you can just fall back to. Like, I'm just going to spam eggs, right? And blah, 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 blah. It doesn't always work, but it's always going to be a strong thing. And Castles, there is really no one just sort of strategy that is always solid, right? Because it also depends on your roles and how you get stuff. But like, I've seen people crush it with just doing nothing but all the animals and extra, so that you can kind of mess with how you play that game. I don't know. I love Brass Bourbon Man, but I think Castles of Burgundy should be the number 1 game of all time on BGG. Just my opinion.
Just say
it's
all right. So we won't block Aaron's phone number now. We'll allow it to go through. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of great designers out there, and some newer ones to keep an eye on. But I think all you guys, a lot of what you were hitting on. I know Mike also mentioned the guys at Orange Nebula. They don't have I think a big enough catalog for me to put them on here. I am kind of interested in Spiritfire, but I love Vindication. Vindication's a top 10 game for me. I haven't played enough Unsettled to have a real strong opinion. It was good the 2 times I played it, but again, I think if I was going to pick them, I think it's more the publishing side of Orange Nebula than necessarily the designers that draw me to them. But at the same time, they've been the same too. So
the production value
I think
from Orange Nebula.
Yeah, their publishing is what comes to my mind more than the design team. But that might be a little unfair. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's.
Well, I will let you.
Go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think picking a favorite publisher would be easier for me because I'm more keen to, like you said, Orange Nebula is coming out with a good game. Like my ears, I'm perking up. Or Pandasaurus, they've had a pretty good run of games that I enjoy. Not all of them are big box. They've got some smaller ones, like Aurum, and not everything's got to be big from them, but I think I'm a little bit more keen on the publishers. Not that if they make something, like I have to play it, but it's like, oh, okay, let me check that out. I'm a little bit more interested when I hear certain publishers over designers, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's weird, some companies, you think more of the designers that come with their games. For some companies, it's more about their publishing practices and the production value that comes with any game they release. So I think I probably lean Orange Nebula into more of that bucket where it's like, man, whatever they make is going to be beautiful. The graphic design is going to be great. They're going to put a lot of love into those games. Like they really do a lot of that. But at the same time, it seems like all their games are designed by the same Mark and blanking on the other guy, Tom. Yeah,
sound like your neighbors. Like it's just Mark and Tom. Those guys.
Well, I've met them personally and have talked with them for extended periods of time, like before they even announced Spiritfire. Like when I went to go pick up the Unsettled stuff, and they're just like, I mean, not that every developer isn't like this, but I think board game developers in a way are just kind of like, they're just normal people, but when you sit there and you talk games with somebody that actually designs them and loves them, and you make that connection like we do, it's the same thing with them. It's they're just down to earth people. Yeah.
Great. I appreciate the time, guys. I'll let you get back to uncovering the list, and hopefully you get another call or two before the end of the show. So
much appreciated, Aaron.
Thanks for calling, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
See ya.
All right, that was Aaron out of Columbus, Ohio. 813-618-7099 is the phone number. We've been talking game designers tonight. And we are currently updating our top 20 boards. We're going to watch Mike here update his here in just a second.
His fancy statistics and pictures.
Get a spreadsheet going.
I got my spreadsheet going. All right. So last time I did this, I just had these quick updates. Number of like this is just for 2024. So I've had 116 plays this year, 67 unique games, 38 were new to me, and I've updated this, by the way. 31 were my copy. I played with 65 different people this year so far.
Wow, that's a lot.
I don't know why I'm trying to click on the video screen when I should be clicking over here. I have one dime so far this year, which is 10 plays on a single game. And I have
Tyrants.
2 nickels this year so far.
And they're both tyrants. So you guys...
I'm trying to, not that I'm like making a point of doing it, but I'm trying to do the 10, what is it? The
10 by 10? 10 by 10?
Yeah, the 10 by 10. I'm trying to get that done this year. And I'm very close on a number of other games of getting nickels. It's just a matter of getting them back to the table. Okay, so getting to my list, you guys gave me a bunch of crap over the last time I did this. So I've moved all my games around. And I've bumped them all up to number 1, and I'm coming down the list here. So Just a quick refresher. I only have 16 games on my list. Not all the games I've played this year I think deserve to be on this list. So just to go through them real quick before I add the 2. Number 16 is Lockup. Number 15, Mobile Markets. 14, Minnow Dice. 13, It's a Wonderful World. 12, Scythe. 11, Guards of Atlantis 2. 10, it's Bacon. Number 9, Hanamakoji. Number 8, Bone to Pick. 7, Brass Birmingham. 6, First Light, or Circadian's First Light. Number 5, Robotrick. 4, Detective City of Angels. 3, Tyrants of the Underdark. 2, Seventh Citadel. And number 1 is Mansions of Madness. So the first game I'm going to add to the list, and these I think I played like maybe the last day of last month. So the first one is going to be Revive. I think I mentioned this on the show when I played it the first time, and
I think so.
I kept passing this game up because the cover threw me off. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to the cover enough, but I kept thinking it was like this tropical.
I'm with you. There's nothing about this cover every time I've seen it that has drawn me in. If it wasn't for Wayne and I hanging out in the pool and him talking about it, I would have never gave this game a second chance.
Yeah, like granted, this is another game. I got my butt handed to me, but I feel it's a game you need to play more than once to kind of get a decent strategy going. The first game was just me trying to get my marbles together on it, but I really enjoyed this game. This one is gonna come in above some of these other ones.
He's scrolling up for you folks listening.
What's that?
Not played this one yet this year.
Oh man, what? Like you've played this before though, right?
Yeah, we played it at Dice Tower East.
Dice Tower.
Was it Rob, me, Dan, and Will?
Yep,
And
that's
what,
right.
what were your thoughts on it while I try and figure out where this is
I liked it.
going?
I liked it a lot.
I think you definitely need to play it a couple times.
I want to play again. Yeah, I've only played it the one time, but it was good.
Okay.
You said you have played it, Carlos? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have a desire to play it.
Yeah.
But not because of the cover.
No, yeah. The cover doesn't do anything for it. I agree. But yeah, it's a good game.
Yep. So it's going to come in at number 14, so just below It's a Wonderful World and just above Minnow Dice.
Okay. Not bad.
That's Revive. And then my second game, which was just mentioned earlier in the show, is my first Lacerda game that I've ever played. Kanban EV is going to come in. Again, another game that I got my rear handed to me, but I can see what's there. And I enjoyed playing it. And I don't know if this is one of his easier games. I really don't know much about Lacerda games.
They're all really hard. They're all
really hard to play.
Yeah,
it is a little on the lighter side from what I understand of his games.
Lighter side is still 4.0 probably. NBG.
Yeah.
3.9, 3.8.
I could understand that. I don't think this was taught the best way. And it was kind of like, this is you're going to get points from doing this, this, and this, and the whole round structure wasn't even described. It was like you had to get it out of the person to explain it. Once it was explained and you played a round or two, it made sense, But I think you really need to start. You got to hit the street running on this one to do well in it and know where to place your workers. But
4.31 weight on BGG.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Is this really a 4.31?
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, so it's not his lightest because I think Vinyos comes in. Yeah, Vinyos is 4.2
by point one.
By point one, and then on Mars,
isn't the Gallerist supposed to be a light one?
Let's see.
What's the Gallerist?
Gallerist is a lot of people's favorite, so I could guess that maybe that would be. Let's see what Wayne comes up with.
The only other one would
4.25.
There you go.
Yeah. What about Escape
right
Plan? Where does that one lie? Because that's the next one I really want to play.
It's gonna be a huge difference.
4.0. No, I'm guessing
3.66. It's like,
okay, there you go.
Actually, when you mentioned Escape Plan, I was going to say that actually is his lightest from what I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
My first Lacerda.
Ease in.
So
that's why I'm looking to pick up a Lacerda. Like Dan had a whole bunch on the Dice Tower flea market, and like I was like at first I was going to do On Mars, and someone out or bid before I ever got to it. Then I was going to do like Escape Plan, and I got outbid, and then what was the other one? Or Kanban. I'm like, so I guess maybe I'll pick up Vinyos.
All right, so this one is going to sneak in right under Revive. So it's going between Revive and above Minnow Dice, and it's coming in at number 15.
So we filled it up to 18 so far on your list. We got 2 slots open. That tells me that these 2 games were good, but they definitely weren't bangers, as Mitchell would say.
Bangers.
Well, and again, it's the
They're
type of
heavier.
game where you need to play it more than once, and I only played it once, and it was my first time playing, so I could see these definitely going up. And it was funny because when I played Kanban, it was with 2 other people. One, my friend Scott, that I play a lot of games with, and it was his friend that he had come over that was the one that taught it. And we finished playing, and like the next day, Scott pinged me on Discord, and he's like, we're gonna play Kanban tomorrow. You in on this game? And I couldn't make it, but like I could even tell like he was really on it and wanted to play it again. So there's definitely something there. And I can
like,
see
let me
these
get my
games.
bucket and scoop my brain back into it and take it to game day again.
What's funny is that like all these like super heavy games though, but you're talking about kind of like the theme, right? So like, did the car theme attract you to it? Like you think maybe that over say videos, which is like making wine, kind of like viticulture, and then like Escape Plan is you're like the
Escape
theme of that
Plan's definitely the theme.
theme, yeah, okay, yeah.
Kanban, don't get me wrong, I love cars, but this is more. I'll tell you what, the mechanism in this game that I absolutely love is the weekly meeting part, where you've got the little speech bubbles that you can put in, and you have they're like cards that are swapped out every round, and they're kind of like end of round objectives that you're trying to do, and you have to have these speech bubbles, and it's like you're having a weekly meeting at the car manufacturing plant, and you're putting in your I'm voicing about this, and if you're the first one there, you usually get a higher multiplier based on what's going on. But the one mechanism that I absolutely love is that everybody gets to add one from their hand when they play. Is it 1 or 2? I can't remember. But you also get one that is just every week that you can add your own. Just that mechanism to me was just like, that was on point. I absolutely love that part of the game.
Cool.
But, yep. So that's my list. I'll stop sharing now. And
I want to talk a little bit more about the Kanban, because at the end of the day, Kanban is a framework, a style, a process for processing processes. So it's like Six Sigma, Agile. It's all the stuff that we do at work, and I've been a part of those process mapping exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And for all those reasons, like it really scares me away from this game. Is this game really just like a role playing of process management?
I don't know. I mean, you are trying to play to the supply and demand. Like there are certain color cars or types of cars that are in demand at that time, and you can push those through the assembly line faster if you could. There's researching technologies. There's, if you have this, then you have your own player board where you're gaining other things. And we did play with the expansion where it had like supercharger stations that would give you like an extra move or whatever where you're going.
Yeah, because the base game at 4.6, it's just not enough. You know,
add
gotta add the
an
expansion.
Yeah. So, and then there's like the test track where you've got the lead car. I mean, there is a lot going on, and it's, you got to have materials that come in, so that you can build the cars, and it's like a whole process. And then you've got what's her name? That's
the manager pond that
stopping
moves around from area to area.
Oh man,
Yeah.
everybody
I forgot
calls
her
her
name.
the B word.
Oh yeah.
If you're not doing well in that particular section, she dings you on points. And I think that was where one of the things that really killed me in that game was, I think I was focusing too much on like 1 or 2 sections where I wasn't trying to be certified in some of these other sections, that gives you and you don't have to be like fully certified. You just have to be certified more than the other person. So it's yeah.
Sounds stressful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say stressful. I don't think games are stressful, but it's definitely an interesting play.
A lot going on. Yeah. I got to get a Lacerdas in. If not before Dice Tower, I've had several people promise me games at Dice Tower, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting some games played at Dice Tower.
Yeah, I wish I could be there with you guys.
We do too.
You have a ticket. It's not too late.
Oh, well, it'll be too late if I go. That'll be
that ship sailed
down if I go.
Yeah, there you go.
Washington man found dead.
Yeah, right.
Well, that updates Mike and Wayne on their top 20, so we are caught up for the month of June. The next time we do our update for top 20, it's scheduled for the first week of July, but that week we're going to be at Dice. Can you believe it's only 3 weeks away?
Oh, it doesn't feel like it. Feels like it's, feels like it's a month and a half, 2 months away still.
Right, it is only 3 weeks away
Wow.
before we're at Dice Tower and playing games, so we won't be updating you on the week of July 4th. We'll save that for the week, the following week. I believe it's the 9th. No, the second week of July, we will update you on the top 20. So, Mike, get some games in, get ready. Wayne, Rob, and I will talk about all the games we played at Dice Tower and update our boards. We should see major shifts, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so. I would think with Dice Tower, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's August, right? And
yeah, because that'll be July to August. Yeah. So actually, our next one will be June's update. So the next update we do won't be the Dice Tower.
Oh, you're right.
Yet.
It'll be the August one.
Just barely missed it.
The way this month's going, I haven't played a game yet.
I played like 2, so or 3 maybe. But
next week we plan on doing a Giveth the Beans. We still got to nail down who's doing it, what game we're doing for Giveth the Beans. We want to continue to provide you our trademarked review style Giveth the Beans, basics, enjoyment, aesthetics, negatives, and summary. Looking for some different. I'm really hoping to get some different games in there that are outside of my wheelhouse, right? So I tend to lead the Give It the Beans with games that I enjoy, but I'm sure the folks at home want to hear some games from designers and things that I don't play, like the heavy Euro games. I really don't play them. So something along those lines, we'll update y'all once we have it, and then we'll do another voicemail show. The last week of June, we'll do another voicemail question. We'll figure it out. We'll post it on the boards and hopefully get some more voicemails like that. We're at.
I think I'm on the hook for Give It the Beans.
Yeah, I was just saying, didn't we say Mike was on the next
I wasn't
one?
going to say it like live.
Didn't want to make it formal. Didn't want to put the pressure on.
Man, I'm 100% on it, man. I think I have the game that I'm going to mention.
So, but the assignment is it's got to be a game Carlos doesn't like or that it doesn't normally play.
Well, that's why I told Mike to do the first one because he,
it's going to be something weird.
Our lists don't tend to cross over as much.
Okay, yeah. So I like the idea. I like the idea. I'm excited to see what Mike pulls out of his hat. Yeah, out of his hat.
I'm set, man. I think I got the game.
And I think if we run that cadence for a few months, where we do a couple of voicemail shows, we do a top 20 update, and then a Give It the Beans. I think that'll give us a good plan for the remainder of 2024. Maybe provide some good content for y'all, get some more listeners out there. For me, the podcast is the part that I enjoy is listening to the show afterwards, but you can always catch it on the YouTube for those that like to watch the video. I know Father's Day is coming up, so we're getting ready for, what I'm going to do is make the kids play games. Like that's the obligatory, we go to church and then we come home and you play whatever games Poppy wants to play.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that rule.
That might be my first games of the month is this Saturday or Sunday with the family. So.
But in the lead up to Father's Day, my wife wanted to get me something real cool to have for Father's Day, and I wanted to share with you all this awesome little feature here that I didn't know was a thing. But in the Funko world, I wasn't aware of this, but you can get your own Funko created. It's a pop yourself, and it says one of one. You are one of one. And the kids and wifey got together and created a Funko. I'll show it here on the screen.
You opened it. You ruined the value.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were you gonna open it, or I wasn't sure. I was just, you can't really see it in the box, but is he gonna open it?
Oh, I'm gonna open it.
All right, there you go.
I don't. Everything gets open.
Tainted.
I'll tell you what's great is I showed this to my 2-year-old, and I said, "Who's this?" And she said, "Poppy." That's how cool this thing is. Let me get it up on the screen here. So there's me with my glasses. I got my beer, and then on the shirt, I believe it says "Number One Dad." Got my khakis and my sandals. Hoping this camera focuses in.
Put your hand behind it.
Yeah, it's too much of me and other stuff. Yeah, put something there. There it
There
goes.
you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. That's awesome.
Very cool.
I think it's funny that your family just associated you with beer.
Put a beer in your hand. Yeah.
This is like summer. This is my summer
Not a
uniform.
board game.
Yeah, not a board game, but a beer.
I don't know if board game was an option. If it was, I'm certain that would have been in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But this is my summer uniform here. It's cargo shorts, flip flops, and a big frosty one.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
Benefits
Very
working
cool.
from home.
I'm planning this week and announcing it to the kids or setting it up right after church. My goal is going to be to get a 5-player game of Thunder Alley. Like that's going to be the big game for me that
Pinnacle
day.
for the Father's Day. Nice.
Do you have any that you think are going to protest that if they could? I mean, it is Father's Day, so they're forced into it. But is there anybody that doesn't care for that game in your family?
They've never. My only one that's
really
played
played
it
it?
is my middle boy. We played it at Daytona when we went out to the races.
Right.
And it was a 2-player game, so he struggled with it. That's a little more tactical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
At the 2-player, you really got to manage your cars. Whereas the social part of the game, I think, will really shine when we get it to 5 players and everybody's running 3 cars on the board trying to help each other move.
Cool.
So I'm hoping that they've played. We've played 5-player games of Pedal to the Metal. What's the name? Heat.
There you go.
Heat. Pedal to the Metal. So we played 5-player versions of that, which I enjoyed that. I really did. But that one doesn't bring out the big group social feels that I think Thunder Alley will. And with this weekend being Le Mans, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, I'm going to have that race on the TV while having Thunder Alley on the table. That's my hope, is for a nice, and then do some grilling in the backyard afterwards. That's my goal for this weekend, gaming wise, is get Thunder Alley to the top of this board here behind me. That are my top 20.
All the way to the top.
That's the goal.
Think it's going to make it to the top there?
Ooh, Terraforming Mars is up there. Ooh.
It's going to have some tough
a tough
competition
one.
this year.
Yeah.
Going to have to be amazing play of that game if it's going to make it up there, man.
Yeah.
Any plans for y'all for this weekend, Father's Day gaming?
My son Matthew's coming over Saturday, and we're gonna have like a movie marathon till late in the night. He's gonna stay over. We'll probably fall asleep on the couch watching movies, and then we're gonna start Sunday with more movies, games, and food. But he hasn't seen. I think I mentioned this last time I was on. He hasn't seen Fury Road. He hasn't seen Furiosa. He hasn't seen the Dune movies, like the new Dune movies.
That's a long weekend, bro. Like it's time to
Starting
work.
Saturday, man.
You tell him
That's
to
what I'm
block his calendar. We got to fix this.
Yeah, so so I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna try. I mean, you hear those and you think it's a long weekend. I'm gonna try and get him to. We started, and we'll probably have to restart, but the Schneider version of Justice League, the 4-hour version, which I think is far, far superior to the one that they released in the theater.
That the black and white one?
It's not all black.
He did put it out in black and white, but the original release of the Schneider cut was in color.
It's definitely
but it's
better.
an IMAX, so it's like a 4:3 ratio. But yeah, so
Yeah, definitely a better cut of the movie. I don't know if it needed to be 4 hours, but definitely. Better.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at it like it's a short Netflix series. People binge that all the time, and it's broken up into chapters, literally broken up into chapters. So it's easy to digest in parts. When you see the new title for the next chapter, you stop it, you get your drink or whatever, and come back. But hopefully I'll get some games in. I would like to start playing Undaunted Stalingrad with him.
Oh, nice.
He's the one that I always play Undaunted with. We both absolutely love that game, and I think starting Stalingrad would be a good Father's Day.
Especially before the Coliseo system one comes out.
Yeah. And it's
2200, is it?
2200, yeah.
Space one, yeah.
Yeah, I felt the pressure when they announced that, and it's publishing. They're like, I got to get some more plays of what I own Undaunted wise before that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent amount of content out there now. Yeah.
True. What about you guys?
Wayne?
We have no plans yet, so I've got to work for at least 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday, which sort of sucks. And then, whatever. Kids got a basketball game, birthday party, so Saturday's gonna be. But Saturday night, I think I might get something in with the wife. We'll probably pull out, maybe get back to Jaws of the Lion or Mansion of Madness. But then Sunday, I think I'll tell the wife and kid like, hey, I want to play a game, and give them a choice like 4 or 5. And the Dice Tower had their, their whatever
Summer Spectacular,
Spectacular this weekend. They played Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters, or the new re-release, because it's being re-released.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
and we have that. So I was like, well, maybe I'll bust it out because I have that in the expansion, and we never really played with the expansion. Comes with like a basement board, makes it a lot harder. So I'll probably bust it out, maybe play that and a couple other games. So we'll see.
Cool.
Nice.
Right.
I don't have anything planned yet. We talked the other night. I played games over at Jim's house, and there was some talk about trying to put something together this weekend, so I'll wait and see if anything materializes there. Talked to the kids about playing maybe something on Sunday. We actually talked about, I had I was doing my research for this list. I was going through the BGA list there. The kids were looking over my shoulder like, ooh, what you looking at? What you looking at? I was like, you know what? You guys want to play a really good game? And I scrolled all the way to the top. You want to play the number one, because neither one of them have ever played brass.
Oh.
I was like, do you guys want to try brass? And my daughter was like, sure. And my oldest son was like, he's like, I'm not going to 100% commit, but if it's an option, we'll look at it. So I was like, all right, cool. And so I pulled up the weight, and I forget what the weight on brass it was. It's not super heavy.
No, it's
but,
not.
So
It's not a Lacerda.
No. Yeah, so they both gave me the one thumbs up and then one maybe on playing brass. So I think we might try to see if we can get that in on Sunday.
I think you pull the Dad's Day card.
And make it happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to.
Yeah, we'll see if that works with the 20-year-olds. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But
I'm finding it harder.
Yeah.
Especially the busier they get with their work schedules and school schedules.
Yeah, he wants to do his own thing.
This is why Mike's got to condense all those movies into one weekend.
One weekend. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah. So if not, I'll play something else highly ranked. I'll get something else on the list. They both love Terraforming Mars. We played Underwater Cities. I talked about that last week for the first time. I taught it to them, and actually, maybe I didn't talk about that since we just did that, I think, within the last week. I played it with Jim, taught me a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about it. But I played it with the kids this last weekend, and my son thought it was a little long, thought it overstayed its welcome a bit. It did take us about 3.5 hours with me teaching the two of them, so it was long. I think we'd get that down under 3 pretty easily with another play, but my daughter liked it quite a bit. So my daughter's actually asked me today, she's like, Dad, do you think you like that better than Terraforming Mars? And I was like, no, I definitely don't, but it's definitely in the conversation. It's definitely one that's up there. And so it was cool that she was thinking about it and came to me and asked me that question. So
that's awesome.
I was like, yeah, nice. Yep.
Proud moment.
Yep, exactly. So I'm looking forward to playing something.
I listened to last week's episode. Congratulations on your daughter graduating.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. 2 graduations in a matter of like a month, high school and college for her.
That's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, for her AA. So that's weird. That was never a thing when I was a kid. You didn't have kids who went took college classes and graduated from college at the same time. But anyway, very cool. Yeah, very proud. Thank you.
Yeah, I was watching it on the live stream until the live stream went down. So
we
were watching, and the kids and I were like, "Look for Emmy! There she is!"
Oh, cool. That's cool. I didn't know y'all were watching.
Well, because they told everyone to stand up, and I'm like, "Look for the person that doesn't look like they're standing."
Yeah,
and
she's
there. She was.
Yeah, she's a little one. Easy to find. Or not.
Carlos, did the stream die?
Oh, did it? Ooh,
I'm not aware.
It says.
Oh, okay,
in
never
stream.
mind.
Looks like it's still running. Oh, you were frozen on
end.
something? Okay, gotcha. So it looks like
but
it's
I was
still
going to say, your daughter committed to playing a lot more games before she heads out, though. Right?
Yeah, she told me. She's like, she's been so busy because she has been doing a lot, getting her AA and doing the college classes, and she's involved in all kinds of extracurriculars, and that's a big part of what her got into. She got into the University of Florida. I'm going to keep saying that because I'm very proud about that as well. They're now calling that the Ivy of the South. I mean, it's when we went to the orientation, they said this was the hardest year ever to get into the University of Florida.
Oh, wow.
Was less than 4% of applicants got accepted.
Yep.
So
every year, it's like every year it just continues
harder to get in there.
Yeah.
But she did commit because I asked her. She's my gamer, and so I ask her all the time to play games. We started Jaws the Lion. We got about 6 or 7, I think, missions left in Jaws the Lion, Gloomhaven. So I've been asking her. We haven't played in about a month. And so she told me, Dad, she's like, I'm finally done with everything. So she said, in the next month and a half before I go away to school, we're going to play games. So I was like, all right, this is the time.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Very cool.
Then month and a half now, you'll be sitting on a little bench all lonely.
Oh yeah, I'm also. I gotta take advantage of this time because,
in the pool on the bench,
Yep,
looking out the window.
2 of the 3 kids going away to college this summer, so yeah, it'll be a big change for us. But on the other hand, I was going to mention this has always been my goal. I've been talking about this for years. Once those 2 kids move out, I got 2 rooms in the house that are opening up. So
here it comes.
we are going to do a lot of rearranging this summer, and
Until they move back.
Well, yeah, don't even think about that yet. We'll give them at least 6 months, at least a whole semester.
He's going to make them bunk in the garage if they come
back.
back.
Exactly. We'll work something out. But I'm going to have a game area, hopefully, finally. And so I'm planning to try to do some live streaming from the house. I'm going to invest in a couple cameras maybe and get something set up. So I'm going to try to expand my contribution here on the show. So
do that thing that Rob loves to do, which is and loves to consume, which is the playthroughs.
Yeah.
Like the live playthroughs.
Live plays, yep.
That's his favorite aspect of this hobby.
Yeah. I want to get that done. I want to invite people over to the house, 2, 3, 4 player games, have a game night at my place regularly. So I'm looking forward to that. So, yep.
Very cool. That's going to be good.
Can't wait.
Games that have been played, as we come to the end of the show here. I got in a game of Dominion today.
Nice.
All because of Chris Yee, and they're doing the top 100, and that game came out pretty high.
Don't say.
Pretty high on his list, and it kind of stunned me. Like, wow, that's an old one. So we busted it out. I opened up my copy, kind of to take a peek at it, bust out the rulebook, kind of remember it, and the one recorded play in there was from 2013, and I'm like, wow, it's been a long time since I played Dominion.
Wow, that is a long time.
At least my copy.
Yeah, at least your copy. You may have played like a Dice Tower copy or someone else's copy, but.
Right? But at least my copy hasn't been played, with me recording a play in there since 2013.
Damn.
So we were glad to get a game in today, and it was great because I got to aggravate my wife by ending it early. Right before she goes in for her big point score, and then my son, right, he's upset because I ended it early. We score up, and I lose to him by 1 point. Jesus says you got to count the cost before you build. Like, you got to know.
Nice.
And apparently, I thought I knew. I had it in the bag.
Math is hard, man.
I figured it out.
Well, part of it is there are times where you don't catch someone buying from the points. Like, you miss it.
They weren't paying attention. They snuck in a gold or two. Yeah.
Right. And you're thinking, oh, okay, I think I've got more provinces than they do. And don't sleep on the duchies. The little, the duchy, which is the $5 victory point card. And I think it's 3 points for a duchy at $5. He was just snatching them up as much as he could. I wasn't even paying attention. That's where he got the win. I got the win because I had the most provinces. I would wait till I got to $8, and then I'd buy my points.
Because the next one down. Because I know there's like 3.
Oh, the estate.
Yeah.
It's $2 to buy it and gives you 1 victory point. It just clogs your hand. Like, I never touched that.
No, not unless you need like a point at the end of the game or something. But yeah.
Talk about quick snappy. Like, it flies. Each turn flies. It was fun watching my son learn the game, right? Kind of, summer camp was his deck builder that he learned first. So I used a lot of that to explain it. And once he started getting into it, I can see him enjoying the purchasing, deciding what to buy. And then when he had his first 8 action turn, right, where he was able to string together,
do this, do that,
like villages and marketplaces, play 8 different actions, and then get a bunch of a bank, and then it's like you see the enjoyment. And then what was really cool was watching the gears turn when he started to decide, like, wait a minute, my hands are kind of crappy, decks are getting depleted. I need to start shifting towards the point buying stage of this game. Yeah, and that's when I saw him change his methodology, and he got the win. So mad props to my son Gabe.
I actually sold my copy of Dominion to Diego like last year.
I think I remember you having that out there. Yeah,
yeah, it was like the big box. I had like 3 or 4 expansions all in the one big box.
Anything,
no, Mike's not a big fan. No.
It's a good game, but I just think there's other games I'd rather play. It's like it is a fun game and it's quick, snappy. I like Carlos. I do like playing it, but there's just so many other games in my collection where I was like, it's just too big of a box. Like if I just had one, like the base Dominion box, I probably would have kept it. But it was like the big box with like 3 expansions, so it was just way too much space. So I'm like, all right, I can get rid of this one game and free up spots for like 4 others.
what it does so well.
Yeah.
It is distilled down so well.
And there is a decent amount of content in that, just in that base box, because that's all I've ever had, and I've never played through all the decks in that base box. I know there's the recommended setup. It seems like a lot of times I'm teaching
16 different markets, I think, that you can choose from.
Yeah. And so I usually play there's 8 that are out in any particular game or something. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played, but whatever the recommended setup, I seem
10.
to play that one a lot. Is it 10? Okay, 10.
Yeah, but there's they have different versions of the 10. Big money 10 or first game 10 or interaction 10, or you can just go rando.
26. If you had everything for that game, it's like the permutations and combinations is crazy.
Oh, there's tons of stuff out there. So I've always thought about picking up some of the expansions, but again, I've just never have gotten through all the stuff, even in the base. I mean, I probably played each of the decks at least once, but I haven't played enough to do all that. So I mean, it's good enough for me. But I know people rave about what Prosperity is a lot of people's favorites. If you pick up an expansion, a lot of people like that one. And then there's one with money and markets or something, but. Anyway,
look at the Chad, what he said.
Oh, got a comment up there.
Rather play Marvel Legendary if someone sets it up and tears it down.
Well, Carlos will scoop it in the box for you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
But that's part of that joy of Dominion. It was so easy to set up.
Yeah.
It was so easy to get to the table, handed them their 10 cards, told them to shuffle and draw 5, and then we just went.
Yep.
That was a joy. I also got to teach them sea salt and paper. So taught the family sea salt and paper. Scout is more preferred.
I thought of you when I was in Japan, Carlos, because I picked up one of the games I picked up, and I actually have it right next to me. It's the Kingdom of Mandam. It's like a little battle game. And the box is like super tight and small, and when you take it off, it's got the finger holes, man.
Oh, oink, baby!
Rip that thing open.
The thing is
it has the finger holes.
That was frustrating. That
funny. That one version.
That box, you're like, oh man.
I'm fine. It's in a deck box now. It is safe. Yeah. It is sleeved. It is good to go. But it was not a hit. It was just okay. And when asked, the family said they'd rather play Scout.
I'm play it more. That's why, man.
Slowly cooling on sea salt and paper.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I'm cooling on it actually. Yeah, I really liked it the first couple of plays, and then I think I'm on like play 10 or 11 now, and I'm like it's very samey, and it's very lucky. It's like if you get the luck of the draw, it's I don't know.
Those are my highlights for games played this week. Anyone have any highlights for games played this week?
I can throw out there. Oh, I played last night. I don't know if Jim and Samantha are still hanging around in the chats, but they're probably waiting for me to mention this one. So last night we played Fall of Lumen. Never had heard of this game. We played with Alex as well. Oh yeah,
I saw you played that. I was like, oh my. Freaking Rob played that before I did. I freaking own that game, man.
Oh, do you? So Jim had it from the Kickstarter. I'd never even heard of this thing. He's like, come on over. We're going to play this game, Fall of Lumen. I guess it's a follow-up in the world of, is it Legends of the Void?
Legends of Void. Yeah.
Legends of Void. And this is Fall of Lumen. Jim kept calling it Fall of the Lumen. We had to keep correcting him. But I'm not even going to try to explain what this game is about. I was even just here on BGG reading through the theme part of it, and it's just somebody talking to you about, hey, listen up, we're going to go do this and do this thing. I mean, so I don't even know what the theme of this is, but it's speaking of deck builders, you're building a deck of cards. The iconography in this game is crazy. They give you a sheet that is almost an 8.5 by 11 size piece of paper that is plastered with 3 columns of icons in all the descriptions of what all these icons do from all these different cards. But yeah, scrolling through some of the pictures there. So it's
your deck is amazing.
Oh, it is. It's really cool. Looks really nice. They've got some nice big chunky wooden pieces that you're moving around the board. You've got these areas that you're going to. These called the outer lands here that you're moving around between these different areas. They all have different things you can buy. Like you can go to one place to pick up companions. You go to another place to pick up trinkets. You go another place to pick up artifacts that you put in your hand that allow you to do some deck building part of this. But there's baddies on the board. You're going around. You're trying to defeat these what they call patrols, and you collect these patrols, and then you turn patrols in at the market. Groups of 3 patrols. You round them up. You turn them in, and you're trying to rescue. I forget what they're called. Some kind of prisoners out of jail. But then again, these prisoners, all you're really using those for is there's a in-game scoring grid at the top, and so you're having to then go chase around this flying city that moves around the board, and you're trying to end up one of your turns on the same spot as the flying city. There's where your the victory points section up there, but you've got these different slots that you're trying to then turn in these prisoners that you've rescued to be able to place tokens in the in-game victory spots, and you get points for different combinations of cards, different combinations of icons and stuff. Game is extremely variable. Jim, we sat there and watched Jim do the setup. Setup on this game took about a good 15 minutes, but there were decks of things that, decks of 20 cards. All right, he shuffled these 20 cards, draw 2, and 2 of those are going to go into play out of the 20. All right, here's another deck. We shuffle these 18 cards, draw 2. 2 of these are going to be objectives for this
there's
one.
Your player aid
there's their player aid. I mean, you can't even the icons that they crammed onto this player aid was just nuts. And so, I mean, it was a good long teach. It was a good game. Again, it's one of those you definitely are going to have to play 2 or 3 or 4 times. The weight on this, it's not super heavy. It's a 3.44 is what they've got it rated on the BGG, which is not light. I mean, it's not a Lacerda, but it's not far from that. I mean, it's not a whole lot lighter, but so I mean, this is, I guess, on par with maybe a little heavier than like a Terraforming Mars or something like that.
I wouldn't put too much into that weight because it's only got 9 votes.
I was gonna say it's really new. Yeah, it's really new. So this just came out, I think. Well, you say you own it, Mike. How long ago did you get it?
It came in a few weeks ago. From Kickstarter.
Yeah, so this is brand new. It just came out. So
6 of the 9 uber nerds that have played this game rated it a midweight game. So I don't,
so 3.4. I guess you're saying maybe is a little light, and maybe it is.
It's only got 9 votes so far. So I think it sounds.
Yeah, probably
Carlos,
so.
Click on one of the photos there where they're showing like cards and icons and stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, all these cards. And at the beginning, you get 2 heroes, and you have to choose one. Your heroes all have chains of things that they do. So this hero cashes in this for this, and then allows you to do that and do this. And so there's just a lot of trying to find synergies in the game because there's so many icons. There's so many things that transfer one thing to a different thing or allow you to cash in this for that. And so finding those synergies is the important part, which is fun. I mean, people who like these kind of thinky games where you've got to find the right combos. I could see, again, I've only played it once. Jim and Samantha, this was their second play. I could see that with more plays and kind of getting used to what is available, what's in the decks, and the kinds of things that combo up, that it could get there. But I could also see this being kind of a swingy game or a lucky game to some extent. Although Jim and Sam said the 2 games they played were very tight in scoring. I think our score, Alex won with, off the top of my head, I think it was 26. Samantha came in second with 21.5. There's half points in this game. I came in third at 21, and then Jim had 19. So Samantha, Jim, and I were within 3 points of each other, and then Alex ran away with it a little bit at 26. But they were saying a game of about 20 points, 22 points is what they're seeing, and so very tight. Not a whole lot of points, not a whole lot of scoring. It did go a little long. As I say, the advertised time here is 80 to 150 minutes. I think we were probably, again, it was teach for 2 of us. We were probably 3+ hours. Yeah, probably a little over 3 hours is what our playtime was. But I liked it. It was again, beautiful artwork, really cool to look at. Just tons of iconography. So this is one you're really going to have to get used to. Like I say, knowing what's out there, knowing how things combo together, and then finding those synergies with. I mentioned, so you get 2 heroes to start with. You pick one. That gives you your starting resources. It gives you your starting ability. You get 2 hidden objectives that you get to look at. You choose one. You get 2 starting locations that all give you different resources and things. You choose one. Just the setup of the game took like 15 minutes just for everybody to look at all their cards.
Is very similar to that as far as like like you said, shuffle this up, pull a couple of cards out of it, shuffle this up. But I mean, that gives you such a large variety of what could happen when you start the game.
Yeah. I agree. Tons of variability. It seems like, but it was good. But I'm not gonna say that I loved it. It overstayed its welcome a bit for me. It goes 6 rounds. After about 4 to 5 rounds, I was like, okay, this is about time to be over. So I'd say it was about a round too long. I know I might have been in the minority on that opinion, but. Anyway, Fall of Lumen. So I would say it's definitely one to look at if you like, slightly heavier games and you like a little bit of deck building, a little bit of. It's not area control. You're moving around to different regions on the board to activate different things, but it was fun. So I liked it.
I was gonna say the games that do this or the artwork this type of artwork just absolutely catches my attention, and I just fall in love with it. With the artwork. That big chunky black outline type cartoonish art, like the icons in this game that have that. I don't know what it is about that. It draws me in a way that other art doesn't. I mean, granted, the art on the cards and everything else is very cool to begin with, but those really thick black outline icons, I just absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Cool. All right. Anybody else got anything in?
Got time for a quick one here?
Yeah.
Because I got a comment on a jest of Robin Hood, which I played 2 games of it, and sold it immediately.
New GMT title that just released.
Yep, it's a coin game. It's my first coin game that I ever played, and it just did not hit. I played once as the Robin Hood and the Merry Men, and then once as the sheriff, and played that side. And the common feel that I had playing both games was, and my understanding is coin games are kind of like this, where you kind of are setting up for something that may or may not happen round after round, and the rounds that are leading up to it are kind of like, well, I guess I'll do this because I don't have anything else that I can really do. It just felt like that round after round after round, and it was just monotonous.
That's a bad feeling.
Yeah, it was.
No matter which side you played, you felt the same way?
I felt the same way. And, from what I understand, the hidden characters, because like on the Robin Hood side, you and the 10 Merry Men, you have your tokens flipped over, so you really don't know what the symbol is, and you're kind of moving around, and you're acting as if you're hidden in the forest, and it just, I don't know, it didn't hit for me. And when I read about it, I was thinking, oh man, I freaking love hidden movement. Not that it was hidden movement, but this
hidden
seems right up my alley, and it just did not hit. And as soon as I put it up for sale, a guy contacted me, and he came out and picked it up, and he's a huge coin game person.
Fan.
Like, he just loves coin games. So he said, I'm going to play it a few times, and I'm going to contact you and tell you what I think, like how it compares to other coin games, because this is supposed to be slightly different than the other coin games, not just in theme, but the way that it actually plays. So I'm still waiting to hear back from the guy, but that was just, I'm not going to end on a stinker, but that was one that I just did not care for it. The only other one that I want to mention is Struggle of Empires. I posted a picture of this one. This is, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was the one with the big map, and you are area control. There's battles that happen. I don't even know how to talk about it because it just kind of popped into my mind. But it was close to 4 hours, I think, with the teach. And it didn't even bug me at all, the length of the game. Like, I was 100% into it. And
yeah, Martin Wallace, 2004.
Yep. I cannot wait to play this game again. And I know it's not one that's going to hit the table very often just because of the length of play. But now that I think everybody knew how to play, like if we play with the same group, and we played 5 players, and it was awesome. Awesome. And this one,
it looked gorgeous.
It looks nice.
Like you posted that picture, and I was all starry eyeballs.
Yeah, it's a bit of a teach, Not gonna lie, and there's a lot going on, but once you understand it, there's just this depth to it that, again, another game you got to play more than once to really get a strategy going. But yeah.
Now it looks like a war game, right? Because it's got the map of the world and it's set in the age of sail. But it seems like it's when you chatted and I chatted about it in the Discord, it sounded like it's more than just fighting, right?
Oh yes, it definitely is. Yeah.
What are you doing on your turns? Like what's the objectives that you're doing on your turn?
Well, it's point based, but different lands. You're trying to control different lands. Some lands are hard to get into where it's a very minor luck based, where you are rolling some dice to get from Europe over to like the Caribbean or different areas. But there is ways to mitigate a bad roll. I mean, granted, you don't want to mitigate a horrible roll, and you can choose to go back to your homeland, or you can, pay whatever cost to get in there. But it is this at the end of every round, depending on who is controlling that area most, you're going to gain points like first, second. Some are only going to have like 1 point value, like only the person in first place, but there's also like NPCs that kind of pop up that you have to handle as well. And, if two people are in there with the same amount of forces, you both share, exactly, you both are getting points, but it's, okay, well, I'm going to move in and I might help you. And the beginning of every round, you are voting not only on who you are going to have on your team, but who is going first. So it's kind of like this betting system. So, let's say the four of us are playing and I'm first. I can say, all right, well, I want this combination of players to start. And it would be me and like, let's say I chose you, Carlos. You're going to be on the opposing team. And I'm going to say, I'm going to bet, I'm going to put up $1 for this. And then it goes around the table. And then say it comes to you. Now you have to bet more if you want something different. And you can totally change it. Like you can say, okay, well, I want to be first and I want Rob to be on the opposite team. Because as your units are building up in these areas, there are certain people that you want on your side. And there's two NPCs that you may want on your side, and you play off of each other that way. So
almost like alliances that are being set each round.
Every round, alliances.
You're bidding
are being
for the
set
ability to set those alliances.
Yep, and as you set those alliances, you're deciding on who's going first and second, who's going third and fourth, who's going fifth. So and
this
sixth.
will be the alliances, and they will go in this order.
Yes, and it's like the coolest mechanism in this game, and it really. And I know that takes up a good portion of the time that you're playing, because it's this constant. I really don't want you on my team this round, but I'm, or
but I need your resources, or I need your access.
Yeah, they may have more units in that land, so you want them on your team so they can't attack you. So it's oh man, I can't wait to play this game again. It is a very, very cool game. Long game, but well worth it.
Struggle of Empires by Martin Wallace, published 2004. Mike with the throwback.
It's an older one.
With the 20-year anniversary edition.
Not from Wayne. It's an old game, not from Wayne.
That happens.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. That gets us to the 11 o'clock hour. Another good show. Yep. Thank you to all those that popped in voicemails, to Chris, to Ron, to Mitch, to Jim, and to Nick, providing the voicemails for tonight's topic of your favorite game designer. I'll upload the podcast tonight. We will schedule the show for next week, where Mike will give it the beans. We don't know on what yet, but he's got a game for us he's going to give us the beans on.
Surprise.
Yeah. So be ready for another live call-in show every Thursday night right here on the Beans and Dice podcast. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
Hit that outro. There it is.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Shut that cat up.
Memorialized forever.